Good morning. It's November 17th, Monday. This is the Griffith Public Schools show. It is 8:05 in the Calumet. My name is Brian Jennings. I'll be your host today. We have three guests today. We have Mrs. Leah Dumazic, the superintendent. To her immediate right, we have Timberly Kinney, who is our middle school assistant principal. And to the far right, Mr. Phil Mason, our head football coach. And we're going to talk many things Griffith Public Schools today here, as this is the third Monday of the month, and that means we are on the air. Mrs. Dumazic, good to see you.
Good morning. I feel a little bit like Johnny Carson.
I was just going to say it's like the Johnny Carson show again, but or the Seinfeld episode where Kramer, as Mr. Coach Mason had mentioned, when Kramer had this set. But nevertheless, Mrs. Dumazic, good to see you. What's going on around the campus, around the district?
Well, 'tis the season, so we've had Miss Kinney headed up the third annual Friendsgiving at the Senior Center in Griffith. So we had a really good time with different student groups that were there, and we served dinner to them, so that were a late lunch, I should say. And we're preparing to do that again for Christmas, so we're excited to do that. Cindy Lieber headed our, we were raising different items that the Senior Center needed. So what was that? She did a drive for that, right?
Yeah, supply drive for things they're needing there at the Senior Center. We got a really good turnout, a lot of stuff donated.
Right, so plates and silverware and dinner napkins and some cleaning stuff. Yeah, so that's been great. Partnering with the Senior Center and trying to help support them in the community. We just finished our theater production Clue, which was hilarious, a really good time. So if you missed that, I mean, it was a good night out. They had that all weekend. And we are now doing our, starting to raise funds and raise sponsors for Thanksgiving dinners for our families in need, Christmas dinners for our families in need. We're doing the Buddy backpack with headed by Kim Watkins in our community. And so we're packing food for each weekend, sending them home on Fridays for 6 weeks. So we've been really busy with the holidays. And I know you missed the admin meeting on Friday. I'm so sorry you missed, but you will be Santa in the wrapped bus as we go out and have kids take pictures with Santa. You will be driving. Thank you for that. And students will be able to pick a little gift and a book on the bus as we scoot out into town. Okay.
So you had mentioned the packing the food for the weekend. Obviously, it's been a tough time for many of people around, not only the Griffith area, but the entire nation. Just talk a little bit about that and how that all got started.
So we realized that some of our families weren't receiving some of their benefits with SNAP. We're seeing that throughout the country. And so, we really believe at Griffith that the public school system should be part of the solution. Right. And so when we have struggles or problems in our community, we want to help solve them. When Kim Watkins had come up with the idea, she's a community member and a mom to a student at Griffith, she said, let's do it. Let's do this Buddy backpack program. And so I think within a matter of hours, she had up to 60 sponsors from our community. I mean, we have our community wants to help. And so when there's a problem, they want to get involved, and they did just that very quickly. And so we're up to 60 students now. So the community members that have decided to sponsor, they bring the food each week, or some bring it all at once. And then I have some of her students from the
Natural
Helpers, which she's going to talk about today.
Right.
They come in, or students from different organizations will come in and help. Kim and her daughter have come in and help, and we unpack things. Different staff members have helped, and we pack it and organize it, and we get enough food for them to help them for each weekend to help with some of the situation that's going on right now where people don't have enough money to eat on the weekends.
So right now I think we're serving roughly about, 60 families in the district on Fridays. We're sending it home with the kids?
60 and growing, yes. And we are working with Mrs. Costidis out of the Greek Church in Maryville, who's sponsoring 25 Thanksgiving dinners. And this is a group of ladies in an organization that they actually cook the meals and then we'll bring it out to different families. I think we have 25 that we're serving this year.
What if somebody wants to get involved and make a donation? How do they reach out to someone?
Well, they can simply drop food off at Central Office, 602 North Raymond. Look for the long black awning off the administrative office. Or they can financially sponsor by writing a check out to Griffith Public Schools. In the memo, put what it's for if you want to do for the Buddy backpack or if you want to sponsor in any way. We also have a food drive going on at Barriger, and so we're using some of that food to help with our kids, because obviously Thanksgiving breaks a little bit longer, so we're wanting to send extra. And we have, I'm hoping more families utilize it. We have the Panther Closet, and that is where we have hygiene items and winter coats, hats, gloves, pants, socks, shoes, you name it. We are packed right now to the brim, and so families can contact me via email, ldoomazage@griffith.k12.in.us, and or Schoology message me, reach out somehow. Most people have my number, and make an appointment after school hours if you'd like, and you can bring boxes and gather as many items as you need for your family.
All righty. Thank you very much. And she mentioned Natural Helpers. That's a club that was started by Mrs. Kinney. And Ms. Kinney, why don't you talk a little bit about the idea, what the philosophy is, and the vision of the program?
Sure. Natural Helpers is a leadership program that Tiffany Mosley, another teacher at Griffith, and myself had participated in another district. We saw the positive culture it brought amongst the students, so we decided to give it a go at Griffith. We currently have 12 seniors who are working to plan and prep the retreat that will take place in March, where we'll have our goal is between 30 to 40 juniors attend, which we're currently working on getting those juniors signed up right now. But the seniors are working to plan that retreat, which the juniors will attend. The retreat really focuses in on different skills and traits that a good leader has. It's a lot of fun. It's not just like sitting and getting information. There's activities, there's games, there's team building, but all focused in on building good leaders and kind of building good rapport amongst leaders from different groups within the school building.
One of the things that I know you were involved in, a little over a week ago, was we were serving the seniors at the senior center. Mrs. Dumazich had mentioned that. Just talk a little bit about that, and obviously, you know, the relationship with the school and the community is a strong one. And I think any school corporation or any leader will tell you in a school corporation, a strong community is a strong school is a strong community. Just talk a little bit about serving the seniors and that whole thing.
Yeah, we were able to take 8 students. The Griffith Food Service Department prepares a Thanksgiving-style feast, we'll call it, because it is really delicious. And our students serve it and are able to interact with the seniors, communicate, talk with them. We had one of our students playing the piano, but it's a really great way to bring 2 different generations together. I had a teacher come up to me the day after and was like, I was at the Y this morning and I heard two older women speaking, and they were talking about the great dinner they had had the day before at the senior center. And so she went up and she asked, are you talking about the one at Griffith? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I work there. Those are my my students.
Right.
So they were very pleased with that and spoke very highly of it.
Even the elementary kids got involved. I think they wrote some jokes and stuff for them.
Did.
They had some centerpieces that were made for them.
Yeah, the art class made flower centerpieces, which the seniors are able to take home.
I think that really must make you happy and proud, obviously, being the leader of the district as well as the school board.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that the schools are the heartbeat of the community, and they should be. And so where we can help and support them, especially the elders. I mean, that's very important, not just to me, but I think to Griffith, to the community.
Timberly, you know, you mentioned the relationship with the school and the community. We talk about that all the time. And you know, from the senior standpoint, obviously seeing the kids coming in there and doing those things, I think that one of the things that we try to preach, and you can touch on this, Timberly, that every day in the building we talk more about like trying to be good people and trying to produce good people. Yeah, it's great to be able to pass a test and that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, the character of the person is the one thing that, you know, you can't measure. And I think that's something that we do a really good job of in our building and in the district of trying to have our kids understand.
Yeah, I think so too. Getting our students out in those social settings with different people. I know Miss Brand and Miss Hassel take students to a nursing home, and then doing the senior center stuff definitely builds good rapport amongst the students. It helps them see kind of a different side of life, like, and makes them, I don't know, maybe connect with grandparents that are no longer around or whatever it may be.
But I also think that it teaches them to communicate instead of using this thing.
Yes, it does.
And that to me is, obviously the biggest thing. And you can see, and you know this, Leah, you can see when our kids come back after being involved in something like that with the community. And they feel proud, and I think they feel good, and I think it's about building their communication skills as well.
Absolutely. And I think that, we are a district that's on a referendum. And so we know that our community voted to help support the schools. And so we have to make sure that we continue to fill the gaps within the community where it's needed.
Let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure projects going on before we go to Coach Mason, Leah. And just give us a little bit of an update on the pool, the aquatic center, everything that's going on with that.
So the exterior walls were set to go up this week, but I think we talked about the ground being too soft this week, so it looks like they're pushing that out to next week. So that'll be a fun time to see that go up. We're looking at a lot of renderings right now and picking out different pieces, and it's all come together. So we're excited. We're still excited to kind of watch it all unfold and come to fruition in September. So we have different projects happening, and it looks like August, or I should say the end of July, August, and September 2026 is when it's all being unveiled, kind of staggered. So looking at, the turf on the football, soccer field, the track. We're doing a little refresh with our booth upstairs.
Press box.
And the 2-story indoor athletic facility right after that, and then the aquatic center towards the end of September. I'm trying to push them to mid-September. I really want to have October as a month for inviting our community in to see all the different things we can offer within that aquatic center.
Well, and I think, again, and we talk about this every month when we're on the air, we talk about the funding formula, and that money is separate from, the referendum money, and just try to remind folks a little bit about how that whole thing happens with the bonding and that sort of thing.
So hopefully everybody's received their Boneyard Bulletin, where we had students that did write articles and stories for us, and it really showed how bonds pay for one thing,
right.
Referendum pays for the two major funds is your operations fund, your education fund, and as we know with SEA 1, it's hurting our operations fund right now with the new tax plan, but the referendum covers just certain things, right? So it covers your safety and security, which we identified. So that's your SROs, your camera systems, your busing and operations. So any operations expenses that go over, or your transportation, those salaries of those drivers, and also to maintain programming and salaries of our teachers. So those are our major areas, and the DLGF monitors that. So when people say, oh, you're building an aquatic center, but we have a referendum, sure. Well, so we're trying to keep the tax rate neutral. You have to, as debt falls off, you bring on new debt. And that's the simplest way to put it. And so, and like I said, we've talked about before, that pool was aging out. It's over 60 years old, didn't have the parts for it. And yes, I do believe that our kids are deserving of that aquatic center and having the same things as people around us.
Well, people also have to understand, some people may say, well, why is it strictly athletic related? That's not necessarily the case. Those facilities will be available and are used by all of our students on a daily basis. And that's the plan. It's part of the educational environment.
Right, and we all know that, most students, whether it's athletics or theater, the arts, band, choir, whatever it is, we want kids to be a part of it. And in Griffith, you can be a part of all of it if you really want. We have a lot of athletes that play 3 different sports, or that are the lead in the play and also the star of the football team. And we have that in Griffith. Right. We have that opportunity. I think that's what makes us special and unique. But we also know that kids want to feel a part of it. It is their family community too, within that school and within those walls. And so whatever that is, whether it's directing a play and doing the tech part of it, or being on stage, or being on the field, or being on the court. So this gives them the opportunity in the facilities to do just that.
As we talk about extracurricular activities, that brings us to our next guest. The gentleman on the far right in the shorts in the middle of November is Phil Mason. And Coach, great to see you, Coach of the Year in the Greater South Shore Conference. Great to see you, Coach. Welcome. And how you enjoying the offseason? Getting a little break?
No, we're right back at it. We're right back at it. And that was the choice of the kids. They wanted to get right back in the weight room and get things going. I think, we've gotten to a point where our culture is really strong. And our kids understand that every year, we want to build to a closer and closer to our objective, which is get back to the state finals and be that type of team and represent our community. And, we've become a player-led team. So when you see right away our juniors that Monday saying, Coach, we got to get going. We got to get started. And I wanted a break. I wanted a little break, and that's okay. It's what we do. So it's fun. We're back at it. We're already been in on Tuesday and Thursday, and we'll just start going at it again. That's what we do.
So you finished 9-2 in the during the season.
Yep.
You lost to semi-state finalist Knox,
Yep.
who will be playing this weekend. I think it's Fort Wayne Lures.
Fort Wayne Lures.
Will be playing in that ball game. Just reflect back on the season, Coach. 9-2. You had some kids get all conference in the Greater South Shore Conference. Just as you look back, just talk about your goals and how those goals were accomplished.
Well, our goal was first to win the conference. And we were really thrilled to do that. Beat a really good team at Wheeler. Great crowd there. It was an awesome environment. We played a really strong second half. Really proud of our kids. And our next goal this year was to win the sectional. Obviously, we fell short. We fell short to a really good football team.
Right.
But I'm really proud of this senior group that's leaving. That's always the hardest thing I think about coaching is you spend so much time with those kids and you got to say goodbye to those guys. But this group especially, because coming in, reestablishing what we wanted as far as the culture of our program and the understanding of how our program operates and what our expectations are for our kids and for them to lead our kids and set an example for our younger kids. And this was a tricky group.
Right.
They were a tricky group of guys, You couldn't be more proud of them, on the defensive side of the ball, losing Rosalio, great player, great kid, grew a lot within the program. Moses, same thing, grew a lot. Those are great kids. Cash Posen, who's a small guy who worked really hard and wasn't sure what his role was going to be and ended up being an all-conference player for us.
Yeah, you mentioned Rosalio Cortez. You mentioned Moses Velez. And there's two words that you mentioned, and I want to sort of bring up again, and one of them is culture. Just talk about what you mean by culture and what you're trying to do.
So we want our kids to understand that they are representative of the community, and they're always going to represent the community for the rest of their lives. You're always going to be identified as a Griffith football player. The hard part, as you guys all know, being in administration, is we're problem solvers all the time. And the hardest thing is when something negative comes, and it never comes as that person. It comes as a football player. We try to make them understand that they're constantly under a magnifying glass and that they set the tone for the school year, and the way they conduct themselves in the hallways, the classroom, the community represents the entire school. And the better they're at, the better they do, the better job that they do, the better they set the standards for everyone else.
You also mentioned player-led. Just talk about that.
I'm not on the field, and I think I went through a hard time this season for
Right.
a couple weeks, and our kids responded. So our kids knew what my expectations were going into every week. They get into routine and they know how we're going to approach whatever team that is, but at a certain pace and what my expectations would be every day throughout that practice, throughout that day, and what I expect from them in the morning when we walk in the building. And I was absent for a little while, and just to see them take over that. But I think where I saw it the most was at the end of the year when the guys were coming into the locker room, especially our seniors, saying, this isn't our last game. I want to play on this field again. Talking to the team about what we need to do to accomplish that. Also, when you hit adversity on the field, guys, I'm not out there. You guys are out there. How do you communicate to each other? How do you support each other? What's your body language? How are you picking each other up? We really, really approach a we versus me mentality, and that's a cultural thing that you deal with everywhere.
Right.
Me,
Right.
we.
Right.
We approach we. It's about us. So that's something that we stress all the time and work really hard with our kids to make them understand that. We're 50. We're together. Us get a break every day, family. We try to explain to them, why are you saying that? What does that mean? Family members don't all get along all the time, but when crisis time comes, we get together. When there's adversity, we pull together. That's what family means. We stress those things very highly in our program.
Mrs. Dumasic, I know you're over here shaking your head, so obviously you're in agreement.
I was just reflecting back when we hired Coach Mason. I had a conversation with him about what it really winning is important, right? But those kids, how they act off the field is also important. And I've watched a lot of young men truly grow up being a part of that program. And They have a lot of integrity and self-discipline, and they have respect. And to me, that's important. They respect their elders. They respect women. They've come a long way, those young men. And I think that's a huge part of that was working with Coach Mason, and he has a wonderful staff, coaching staff. And it's really nice to see that. And that was something that's really important to me to go back to. Listen, these young men need to be good, sound young men off the field.
There's a poem out there, and I think it's called Little Eyes. And basically the end of it is, there's little eyes that are watching you, and they want to grow up and be like you and play one day for Griffith High School, something like that. So I think that's obviously something that's important. And from an administrative standpoint, from our perspective, you look at our athletic programs as a whole, and we have great leadership, with our coaching staffs nowadays on both sides. And I think that what that does for our programs as a whole is the culture is elevated when you have solid programs and solid leadership across the board.
Absolutely. And, it only takes one adult to make an impact on a child. And I thank Coach Mason and his entire staff because, I see these young men when he was out, and that was a rough time, I know, for him and his family. It was a rough couple weeks, and maybe I was having a rough couple weeks, but so I was hitting the gym at night. In the morning is typically my routine, and I'd see his guys coming in, 8, 9 o'clock at night, hitting that extra workout. They were missing him, but they were doing what they were supposed to do, and they were hitting the gym, and they put in the work.
So now we're in the winter sports season. Football obviously is on the back burner as well as our other fall sports, and we have new coaching staff on the men's, on the basketball side, on the boys and the girls. Cam Ashley, who is an outstanding young coach. We stole him over from Maryville. He's one of our computer teachers. He is our boys head coach. Our new girls head coach is Kevin Ballard, a longtime assistant coach in the area. We have a lot of things going on now, and that's just basketball. We have swimming happening. We have wrestling on both sides of the board. So we have a lot of things going on this time of the year, and one of the things I think that when you talk to our athletic department, our athletic director, Olympia Teenstra, our assistant athletic director, Meredith Dayton, the one thing that they talk about is how the success that we've had in other sports carries over and sort of elevates the game of the entire athletic program in the athletic department. I think really it elevates the game, so to speak, of the entire school.
I would agree. I can't wait for. I love basketball, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all our new coaches that we have. We have the basketball coaches. They look like they're really getting the kids out there, and the kids seem real happy. Coach Ashley, he's a gem. We all know him.
Yes, he's been good for us. It's a cool time right now to be in the building because we're getting into the holiday time, and I think that's the one thing that we're all proud of. And Coach Mason, and you can chime in here as well. The one thing that I think we're all proud of is that we have such a good relationship with our community, and that's the key to this whole thing, I think.
Absolutely. We talk about our crowds and how great our crowds are and how much community support that we get and how important that is. And I will tell you this, at Wheeler and at Knox, the size of our crowd was absolutely amazing, and just to have that support from everybody. And we win the conference championship at Wheeler, and I get a phone call from Mike Andre. Hey, we're going to meet you guys at Shipwreck, and there you go. As we pull up, there's 3 fire trucks and a couple of squad cars bringing us into town, going down the street really slow, and everybody coming out, what's going on, and then waving, and that makes the kids feel great. And I know it makes those guys feel great. They love doing that. So that was special.
Well, the fact of the matter is when Griffith football is good, and this is not just coming from somebody who works there, but when Griffith football is good, it's good for not only the school corporation but for the region, because obviously Griffith football is considered one of the blue bloods in the area. And I know when you took the job, that was one of the attractions for you, Phil, was, hey, look, this is one of the top programs in the area. And I know when we hired Coach Mason, one of the things that we wanted was somebody who had been above us, so to speak. And what I mean by that is who had had success that we might not have had in the last number of years. And yeah, it's been a while since we've won a sectional, but I think as a whole, from the athletic side and from the community side, everybody is happy with what's going on.
Absolutely. Our just seeing their pasta nights and their dinners and what these moms and dads put together, they're very supportive of our kids. We have a great parent community.
So now we are into the winter sports season, and go to the Griffith school page, the district page, and you can go to the respective schools. You can see all the schedules for what's happening in the other schools, as well as in the athletics on the high school side and the middle school side. It's just a busy time of year between holiday events and Thanksgiving coming up. By the way, Thanksgiving break for the students starts next Wednesday. That will be, I think, the 26th. We're out from the 26th through that weekend, coming back on that Monday. And it's just a cool time right now, I think, in the school corporation, because we get into the holidays and we preach a lot of working with the community and helping people out. And I think this is just a great time to be in Griffith.
Yep, a few things. Happy birthday to Mr. Jennings.
Thank you.
And also to our guidance director, Mrs. Michelle Udich. They both celebrate their birthdays today. Also, I'm really proud to say that we will be doing our first polar plunge at Griffith High School, so we're super excited about that. Melissa Dickelman will have more details to follow on that. We're excited that you're going to be Santa, driving that bus around town.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it. I don't mind. That's fine. We're good with it. Whatever it takes. So that'll do it, unless Coach Mason wants to do it. You'll be wearing shorts.
You're good.
You'll be wearing shorts.
And don't forget, Panther Closet, if anybody's in need of shoes, clothing, any hygiene items, whether you live in Griffith or not, we have it. It's yours to take.
Yeah, and if you want to make any donations, call the main office, the central office, rather, 924-4250, I think is
Correct.
the number. So call them, and if you have any questions about what's happening in the respective buildings, reach out to the principals in the buildings, and they'll be glad to help you out. Otherwise, that's it for this edition of the Griffith Public Schools Show. Until next month, my name is Brian Jennings for our guest here today. Have a great Thanksgiving, and go Panthers.
Teen parents face overwhelming challenges, but with the right support, they can build bright futures for themselves and their children.
Mental Health America's ETAP program provides education, mentorship, and resources to help young parents graduate.
Right now, your donation goes twice as far. Thanks to a generous match, every dollar given up to $30,000 is doubled, but only until March 31st.
Scan the QR code, visit mhanwi.org, or mail your check to ETAP Match today.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
Do you want to get a vaccine, but it's difficult to get to your healthcare provider? Call the folks at Right Care Pharmacy. They'll come to your home, discuss your vaccination status with you, and administer the appropriate vaccine with expertise. They offer vaccines for flu, shingles, pneumonia, hepatitis A and B, TDAP, RSV, and COVID. They've been serving the Lake and Porter County community for over 11 years and are fluent in Spanish. Call Right Care Pharmacy at 219-655-5028.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
If you're thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or your business has plans to break ground on a new project in 2024, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your source for the region's best electricians. With IBEW, Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today and ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals.